You guys have no idea what you're talking about. What I'm referring to is the hundreds of comments I get on my videos, either saying that I need to put on more muscle, I need to gain more weight, or I need to bulk. What you guys don't know is that I'm choosing to not bulk on purpose. I'm skinny by choice, and that might come to a shocker to a lot of you, so let me explain. See, on fitness social media, there's a certain term that was probably made by some lazy bodybuilder, someone who probably gets out of breath trying to walk up their stairs, obviously not athletic, probably has no girls, and a small wee-wee. Basically, these people came up with the term for people that are smaller than them, and they call them victim weight. And to these people, if you're under 200 pounds, then at any moment you can become a victim, and therefore you're classified as not a man. Obviously, this is just a coping mechanism, but today I'm explaining why I'm voluntarily a victim. So my name's Denali. I'm 140 pounds. It might fluctuate to 145 pounds. I'm 5'7", staggering height, I know. I also bench 280 pounds, so that's about twice my body weight. I can also bench 225 for about 8 reps. I squat 315 for 8 reps. I can run a mile in under 7 minutes, and I could dunk. Well, I mean like a tennis ball, but that's still close enough. A bigger vertical than the average person of my height. I've been training for about 6 years. I started in November of 2018, and I started off at about 115 pounds, so I was a pretty little guy. I was always someone that had trouble gaining weight. I guess you could call me a hard gainer, but on top of that, even when I did gain weight, I still remained relatively pretty lean. And this isn't on purpose. I actually tried to gain as much weight as I could, but just a lot of the fat didn't stick on. So anyways, I was training pretty consistently all the way up until 2020, where I caught the vid. I caught it 2 times to be exact, repeat offender. So at this point, I bulked all the way up to around 135, maybe 140 on the good day, but throughout that whole year, I slowly lost progress. So around 2021 or 2022, I became super demotivated. So I was just like, you know what, forget it. I'm gonna put on as much weight as possible to try to get all my progress back as fast as possible. So at this point, I ate as many calories as I could, upwards to like 4,000 or 5,000 calories per day, and I managed to bulk all the way up to 157 pounds. This was the heaviest weight I've ever seen on the scale before in my life, and it's also the heaviest I've been. I maintained this for a couple of months, but the thing is, I low-key regretted it, and I'm gonna explain why. So I know a lot of you guys are thinking that 157 pounds isn't even that big, like you're still pretty small. There are people that are 5'7" that are like 170, 180, 157. That's not big at all. But to me, since this was the heaviest I've ever been, that's pretty big to me. Now, everything I say in this video is just my opinion, alright? So don't take it personal. But just a reminder, my opinions are always facts as well. But when it comes to your goals and your needs, you need to stay at a body weight that's good for you. And for me, 157 just wasn't it. For one, I was not as athletic as I was at 140 to 145. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean to be athletic? I couldn't run as fast as I could before. My endurance was horrible. I couldn't jump as high. Like, I was barely even able to touch the backboard of a basketball hoop. And me at the time, and still to this day, I'm a huge basketball player. I mean, not physically, but I'm a big fan of basketball. Just sports in general. So not being able to play as well as I used to was kind of demotivating. I didn't think it was a good trade-off. Moreover, my body wasn't used to being this heavy, so I constantly got knee pain, wrist pain, elbow pain, and most importantly, back pain. Anytime I would even try to do any athletic stuff, like running, jumping, all my joints would be talking to me, and they weren't very happy about it. Like, it felt like I was walking around 24/7 with a 30-pound weighted vest on my shoulders. And I hated how out of breath I got. You know it's bad whenever you get out of breath just from standing up to go to the bathroom to take a everything felt like a cardio workout. So my bedroom cardio, shot. Aside from how I was feeling, it wasn't just that. There was more stuff to come. Another thing that I hated about trying to gain weight was that I was looking bigger. Like, you can visibly see more muscle, but the thing was, I wasn't feeling stronger. None of my lifts were really going up as much as I hoped they would. Like, they were still going up, just not as fast as I thought. I was like 145 benching 245 pounds, but whenever I hit 155, I was barely benching like 255. It's not even a big jump. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say you just didn't bulk right, you didn't trust the bulk, whatever, but take a look at these two pictures. There's visible size difference, but I'm not looking fat. My abs are still visible. You can still see my veins. I'm clearly bigger, just not stronger. So I thought to myself, like, what's the point? I don't really care what I look like as long as I look decent. And to be honest to myself, I thought I looked better before. And that leads me to the next thing. I felt like I wasn't doing it for myself. I was doing it to try to look better for others, which was also demotivating. At this point, I've seen a lot of comments, people saying like, oh, you need to gain some more weight, you need to build more muscle. And then of course, physique inflation. On TikTok and Instagram, everyone was looking huge, so of course I wanted to be a part of that. But me personally, I just do not think it was worth it. And that leads me to one of the harder reasons. It was way too hard to maintain. On top of having to eat more food, which is already hard in its own right, I had to pay attention to which foods I was eating, making sure that I had a lot of protein, a lot of calories, and trying not to eat too much junk. But also, I'm just not like a very hungry guy. I can go from waking up all the way to 6 p.m. without eating a single meal and still not feeling that hungry. That's the main reason why I was so underweight my whole life. Not because like I was anorexic or had an eating disorder or anything, but mainly just because I'm usually not that hungry. So when it came to putting on weight, I had to make sure that I was tracking everything, making sure everything was dialed in. Some of the things I've done since literally day one was tracking my lifts, tracking my diet, and also tracking how I look. What that basically looks like is when I'm tracking my lifts, I usually take the top set of what I do and try to add on to that next time. So for example, if I bench 225 for 5 reps my first week, the next week I'll bench 225 for hopefully 6 reps. Or if that's too hard, I might bench 230 for 5 reps. This is an easy way to progressively overload. I usually just wrote down in the notebook, but you can also keep a mental memory. Or these days people have apps that you can use. The next thing I did was track my calories and my protein. You want to try to aim for 1 gram per pound of body weight. And when it comes to calories, like 500 to 1,000 calories plus, you can even add on a little bit to that. Me, I was eating 1,500 calories over my maintenance. And I use MyFitnessPal to do this. You can use any calorie counting app, but MyFitnessPal was free. The only thing I hate about MyFitnessPal though is that they updated it and took away the ability to just take a picture of the barcode and scan it that way. Now you have to physically type it in. It just makes it a little harder. And the last thing that you need to track to stay dialed in, whether you're bulking, cutting, main gaining, the last thing you want to do to make sure you're staying on track to reach your goals is obviously weighing yourself. Checking yourself on the scale, making sure that the numbers are still going up, down, or staying the same, wherever you wanted to do. When it comes to a scale, I've always liked smart scales, but you want to make sure that you're using one that's accurate. So that's why I like to use the sponsor of today's video, the LaPulse F4 Body Fat Scale. The LaPulse F4 has high sensitivity sensors that make it highly accurate. It of course checks your weight just like any other scale would, but on top of that, it also measures your body fat. So I don't have to use any coach's laser eyes to Greg my Doucette. I can do it myself at home. But not only that, it comes with 15 different body composition metrics. It has a large LCD screen so that everything is easy to read. And my favorite part about this scale is that it connects to your phone pretty easy. So you don't even have to be on the scale physically to read everything. You can just pull it up on the app, read everything from your phone. And this thing goes pretty in depth. Like it tells you your weight, tells you your body fat percentage. It also tells you how much water you have in your body. It tells you your bone density. It tells you your muscle mass. It gives you your BMI. It also tracks your heart rate, which is crazy to me. It gives you your protein mass, your visceral fat, your BMR, and it gives you your body type. And on top of all of that, you put in your target weight so that it lets you know if you're reaching closer to your goals or not. Hopefully you are. I use this thing every day and I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't. LaPulse is running a sale right now. I recommend you guys go check it out. You can use this link right here or go to the link down in the description. If you want to stay dialed in, I recommend you go check them out. Thank you LaPulse for sponsoring today's video. But back to why I'm staying victim weight by choice. I would have to gain tons of weight. And to be honest, I'm not even able to gain that much weight, naturally that is, at my height. At least for it to make sense. Obviously, I'm kind of limited, but I also just don't really want to. I can be like Jax Fit, Alex Eubank, Togi, go hop on some steroids. Honestly, that's not the healthiest option, so I don't think it's worth it from a health perspective, athletic perspective, or aesthetic perspective, because in the long term, I'm just shredding years off my life. Which, why would I want to do that? Just to impress some people online. So you might be wondering, whenever I went from 157 down to where I am today, around 143, 144, did I lose muscle? Did I lose strength? How did I comfortably go down this weight? Because this is around 15 pounds. Well, here's what I did. So when I was first trying to bulk, I was drinking the concoction of a shake every single day, and it did not involve Nick Smith's nut milk. If it did, I probably would have gained like 100 pounds of muscle. But I was not yet enlightened by Nick Smith's creamy anabolic juice. So instead, this was my daily shake right before I went to bed. About 1.5 cups of milk, a bottle of high protein boost, 2 scoops of Body Fortress protein powder, a little drizzle of olive oil, and some peanut butter. I don't know the macros off the top of my head, but I'm guessing it's around 1,350 calories and about like 100 grams of protein. And I'm not even exaggerating with this. That's some people's daily intake all in one shake right before I go to sleep. It wasn't really that bad, to be honest. I would just slam it and forget about it. But on days when I wasn't even hungry, I wasn't in the mood to have anything else in my body, I wasn't really trying to put anything else down my throat for the day, there were times when it didn't go down as smoothly as I wanted it to. And we're not even gonna mention what happens when it passes through my stomach and it was bathroom time. That's a story for another day. But this shake was just something to help me go over my surplus so that I could keep gaining as much weight as I could. Anyways, I don't drink those anymore. I only drink Nick Smith's nut milk just when I need to, or when he wants me to. Anyways, I also stopped worrying about food so much, specifically worrying about what foods I'm eating and the macros in each food. I stopped overly obsessing over that. Not because it was hard not eating the foods I wanted to, because to me, food is just fuel. I don't really care what I put in my body as long as it's just palatable, really. But it was borderline stressful, not healthy on my mental to only look for foods that were perfect in macros, making sure that I had enough protein relative to the calorie ratio, and especially eating as much as I had to of it. It just wasn't fun. It's never fun trying to stress about something as small as what foods you're eating. On top of that, I'm following my natural hunger schedule now. Before, I used to be on the clock. I had to eat this meal at this time and then end off my day with a huge shake. I had like scheduled blocks for my meals, but these days it's not really like that. It's whenever I'm hungry, I eat it. So that makes eating a lot less stressful, but it also helps me feel as physically good as I can. I'm feeling a lot better than I did whenever I was at that weight. So what do I maintain these days? I'm usually maintaining 2,500 to 3,000 calories per day and anywhere between 130 grams of protein to 170 grams of protein. Not because I'm tracking it, but just because that's how much protein I average. And while I was doing this cut, I experienced no difference in my strength. And thanks to this, at 140 to 145 pounds, I'm feeling the most athletic I've ever felt and the most functional I've ever felt. Also, not to mention the most comfortable. I'm probably not the most aesthetic that I've ever been, but I feel like I'm the most well-rounded. I feel like I look as good as I can, along with feeling the best that I can. And that's what really matters at the end of the day. Big thing is, I'm happy with the way I look. Now the question is, will I ever bulk? Well, I'll let you guys decide that in the comments. Would you want to see me bulk? Would it be a dirty bulk, clean bulk? I'm gonna leave a pinned comment down in the description and you guys can reply to it and let me know. But on top of that, I made a video about the bulk king Jack's Fit, and I talked about how he's no longer natty, so go check that one out as well.